Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 214 of the Hoots podcast right here on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasting service. Now, you may be asking yourself, that's not Brother Adam. That voice is far superior. What is going on? Well, in order to switch things up, and as we get closer to, since this is a prediction show, we're getting into a WWE pay-per-view, we're going to switch things up this week, and the good brother has decided to allow yours truly the opportunity to host this particular podcast this week, and I am very, very excited to be able to do that. It's the Director of Operations, your boy, Brother Carter, Derek Stoughton, hosting this week. You can follow me on social media, on Twitter, at Derek Stoughton. You can also check me out on Instagram at Dereko06. Also, check out my work on WrestlingRumors.net. All your wrestling news, opinion pieces, all that kind of good stuff. So, thrilled to be here hosting the show this week. What a week it's been. So much to talk about, and so many things that we can't talk about. Like the time I used to pay common people to demean me when I had that job up in Utica. Well, I am not alone this week. Joining me this week is the Chet Cheddarfield to my Lance Catamaran, the Clint Bobski to my John Johnson, the Chad Too Bad to my Tex Ferguson, the host, the creator, the brilliant mastermind behind the Hoots podcast, the one and only Brother Adam, Joshie Lopez. Josh, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Hello, greetings and salutations, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful week so far. I'd like to say that I'm also the Stephen A. to your Max Kellerman.
Oh, that's so true.
And we're going to get to that later on through the show. Again, hope everybody's doing well. A busy week ahead of pro wrestling with pay-per-views this weekend, and got a lot to get into, so let's not waste any time, if we will. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention plugs-wise is always if you are subscribing on like Apple Podcasts, leave us an honest rating, whether it's 4 or 5, and send some reviews. Let us know what you think about the show, positively or negatively, anything we could change or improve for our show. We are open to your suggestions because without you guys, the show is not serving the purpose of what the show is supposed to be. So thank you for the support, everybody. And not even if you don't want to leave a review, you can even go to the review section and leave your predictions for the show that contains horror this weekend and Slammiversary as well. So just find it in the Apple Podcast area, type in reviews, and you guys can find it there. But go ahead, Brother Carter.
Absolutely. Josh, where can people find you on social media sites?
I am on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. Pretty simple. It's crazy. This is actually the one Twitter handle that I've been keeping and not flip-flopping like I used to back in the day when I first started doing these type of shows. I think I had like 6 different Twitter handles in a span of 2 years, which is insane. But that's kind of the pros and cons of working in the actual media business. So you can follow me there at the Who's Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Joshie Lopez 94. That's JOSHIE Lopez 94. And I have a music page on Instagram called Josh Lopez Music as well. If you'd like to see me play some fun Takamine guitar acoustic strings, if you will.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Very good. That's awesome. Well, Josh, we have a lot to get into this week, so we're going to jump right in. The big sports, because usually in the show we like to talk a little bit about what's going on in the world, and I think the big sports news this week is, to me, anyways, my personal opinion is the Washington Redskins changing their name after 83 years, I believe it was, as the Redskins are finally changing their name. In my opinion, Josh, that's something that's been long overdue. I think that's, and I remember they were talking about this on First Take, and, back in 2014, Dan Snyder had said, no, we will no way under any circumstance change the name. But then, the social climate of where we are and the amount of dollars that he will lose if he did not decide to change the name finally forced his hand. Mm-hmm. I think it's a long time coming. I'm glad we're finally seeing that. And I think that this is going to be the first, Josh, of several names that are going to undergo a lot of transformation over the next few years as sports franchises start to adapt to the 21st century and where we are as a society in general, and being more accepting and tolerant of everybody's race and ethnic background, and everything that we as human beings ascribe to be as a society is finally starting to come into light. So I'm very happy about that. I think it's long overdue. What are your thoughts on that, Josh?
Well, living here in Chicago, there's been a lot about what's going to happen with the Chicago Blackhawks and their name, and the team already came out and explained that they're going to continue on with their name, and they have a different reasoning behind the purpose of using that name and logo in the first place. And I think we talked about this a lot in the past about a lot of people growing up with I wouldn't say robotic, but they're like so entrenched with what they're raised on foundationally inside from what's passed down to them. There's like a lot of people that just stick with a robotic mindset of this is how it's supposed to be. This can't change, yada, yada, yada. Anytime you bring something different that doesn't fit with their opinion, it causes bad tension or bad energy. And I don't understand why that's the case. In this instance, yeah, like you said, it was definitely long overdue. I'm happy that they're making this change, but also I have to mention the fact that would this change happen if there was not pressure and scuttleback from the sponsors who sponsor a FedEx Field out there in Washington for the football team. And for me, like, it goes back to two things. I think robotic mentality is a problem, but also the notion that the only thing in life that matters is money. I think that's also a problem too, because honestly, I don't believe that the formerly known Redskins would change their name if the sponsors, like from FedEx and all the other sponsors, were threatening to no longer fund their organization. And that's a unfortunate thing to say, but it's the truth. You just look at how business goes and peer pressure and stuff like that. I would hope that Daniel Snyder, in his heart, genuinely would want to change it for the fan base and what they've been going through. I have family from my mom's side of the family who are part Native American and have Indian background. And I'm glad they're making the switch here. And instead of breaking down the racial side of this, we kind of want to have a comedy kind of segment where we apply like wrestling gimmicks to the name. We're trying to figure out like a new name for the Washington NFL team, because I know I'm talking to this to friends of mine, my uncle who I work with at the tattoo shop. There's back and forth opinions on this. Some people are for this change. Some other people are like, oh my God, this cancel culture, yada, yada, yada. No, like you can't win with some of those people, but what we do here in the Hoops podcast, we always love having some positive energy and like switch the tables up. So like for those who are listening or watching this here on YouTube, let us know what you think should be the new name for the Washington NFL team, because we could apply a bunch of gimmicks, Brother Carter, right?
We can. One of the first ones that comes to mind, and maybe this is just because of what happened on Raw this week, is the Washington ESTs, baby.
Oh, wow. That's not a bad one, actually. I like
the
that.
Washington ESTs. The EST of the... See, the problem is that it doesn't rhyme. They can't be the EST of the NFL. Oh, they could be the EST of the... Are they in the NFC, I think?
Yes.
The EST of the NFC. The Washington ESTs.
It's not bad. They got to have Bianca as the mascot then.
Yes. That hair can go for days, so I like that one.
Yes.
Let's see.
I did mention the Washington Sledgehammers, me being a student of the game and a big Triple H mark.
Yes.
So Washington Sledgehammers could work.
Yes, I like that.
I apologize if we bring up any gimmicks that are offensive. Like I don't have the back info of history right off the top of my head. If we say something that's wrong, please let us know and we could.
Right. Yeah, we'll address it. We'll address it later. Let's see. We could do the Washington Stunners. I don't know. No, that's kind of
no.
No, that isn't going to work. I don't know. I'm kind of We're going to have to think about this. I'm sure as we go throughout the show, Josh, we'll come up with other names. So, but yeah, drop us in the chat. Yeah, go ahead.
The Washington Stampedes, like the unicorn stampedes for the New Day.
The Washington Pancakes. You want to just go with that? If we're
I haven't had like really good pancakes in a long time. You know, you go to like a regular. This has been the sucky part about this whole lockdown and everything that's going on in the world. It's just the you can't go to we have a place here in Chicago called Cozy Corner that has like really good breakfast food, right. And it's just been it hasn't been really working for us so far on that end, but
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but no, let's see. I mean,
here in a little preview to a little later today, Josh, how about the Washington ratings? Because as we know, ratings are so important.
Oh God. I want to give a shout out to Adam he just put the tweet out earlier this morning. He's like, in fact, people are arguing about ratings is why he put that was one of the reasons why he hates wrestling fans, and I couldn't agree more with that. I don't feel like we've been coming out here and arguing ratings. I think I've been pointing out the stupidity and the amount of energy people are expounding on ratings, and we'll get to that later on.
Oh, trust me, we're going to get into that. Yeah, as we get into what I think has become, Josh, our favorite segment each week, but we're going to get into that in just a little bit. Okay, well, we have a ton of wrestling news to talk about this week, so let's just jump right in. We're going to just run everything down, and I want to start with SmackDown this week, Josh, and let's get into SmackDown this week. I know there was a lot of people that were not particularly thrilled about this week's episode of SmackDown.
Yeah.
For me, Josh, I'll start with you because you're the one. You and I were talking about this beforehand. So, what were your thoughts on SmackDown this week, Josh?
Well, I think overall, I thought the show was what it was. I'm trying to.
It was what it was.
Yeah, it was what it was. And for me, like, I didn't think the show was all-time horrible. I saw somebody say this was the worst SmackDown episode. I saw that the other day. I was like, okay. I mean, the show's been around 20-something years now.
Right.
I'm sure it's been far worse than this one. The point I was bringing up to Brother Carter before we came on air today is that whether a show is good or bad or not, I think we need to realize as fans have been watching pro wrestling TV for over the last 25 years or so, that with it being a 52-week program, you're going to have good shows and bad shows. I'm not going to come on here this week on the podcast and say, oh, this was an awesome show. Like nothing went wrong or anything like that. They decided that they wanted to re-air the Braun Strowman Bray Wyatt thing. I thought, I enjoyed that match. But as far as like content producing and like stuff like that, I would have had like Braun have a sit-down interview with Corey Graves and like dig deep into why Braun is so like bothered with the fact of what he went through in the swamp. Like maybe that's something they could do tomorrow as we record this on a Thursday. I have no idea. Right. But I didn't think they needed to re-air, but I didn't mind watching it. Hey, from a writing point of view, when you re-air something and I could pull back from my website and just add it to the article, you're making my job easier. So that was my thoughts on it. But overall, I thought the show was okay. I didn't think it was horrible or bad. I seen a lot better, and I'm sure there's other aspects of the show that could have been better. I could have done without the karaoke segment that everybody is panning, and rightfully so. But there was other stuff that stood out to me. But what was your thoughts?
I like for you, like I said, Josh, I agree with you. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't the worst SmackDown of all time, but it's obviously not the best. But it was okay. Like you said, there's 52 weeks of television to fill, so you're not going to hit a home run every week, unfortunately. So. I thought that I liked the opening segment with Miz and Morrison and Jeff Hardy. I thought that was very entertaining. Miz and Morrison continue to be gold every single week. So I think that was great. And then we got a decent match between Jeff Hardy and the Miz.
Yes.
So I thought that was great. And Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to bring this up to you because I know you've been bringing it up when you do occasional live tweeting and stuff for wrestling rumors that you haven't been the biggest like advocate for the Jeff Hardy Sheamus like personal beef storyline that been going on, and I see that from a lot of other people too. And from my point of view is that like I've seen worse angles, like more deep and rooted issues than just this, but
Sure.
I think for those who are trying to figure out context of why they're doing this, and I saw somebody the other day, they're forcing Jeff Hardy to partake in this alcohol storyline. It's not really the case. Go check out his Chronicle special that they just aired on the network, and you can see that he's embracing this. And like this is while it's a literal demon he's dealing with, but from a artistic point of view, it's figuratively a demon that he has to go through. And again, if Jeff Hardy has the consent of what they're doing, then there shouldn't be a rooted problem. I think Sheamus has been cutting good promos for what a heel would do in that scenario. Just because somebody's doing something dastardly and calling out somebody's personal life, it's not a bad thing when you're in pro wrestling. Like they're a heel. You're supposed to be upset with what they're doing. But to your point, I really did enjoy the MIZ TV with Jeff Hardy. I thought that's pretty funny.
That's great. And I guess I just don't want this angle to be I just don't want this angle to go on for too much terribly longer. I guess you can take it through SummerSlam, but then you got to move on, because we've all are aware of Jeff Hardy's past and the issues that he's had. Obviously he's trying to deal with it and become a better person. And I'm glad that I'm okay with them bringing it to light just to try to help other people. So I think that's okay. But at some point you got to go, okay, that's enough with this. Let's move on. Let's see, because each of their characters is more dimensional than just that storyline. So, but it also gives them both something to do, because there isn't, again, we are in a pandemic right now. So unfortunately there's not a whole lot you can do storyline wise and that sort of thing. It's just so tough without fans, and you've talked about this before, Josh, you can't book. And this is something that I'm starting to realize. You can't book these shows like you normally would if there were fans there. Like this type of angle might not be as effective if there were fans in the audience, Also, you can't gauge on booking in this era based on Twitter. I just have to say, Twitter is not the end-all be-all on what's good and what's not. Because there's a lot of people that don't watch wrestling the way like maybe you or I would, or other people that do shows like this. It's totally different. I don't really have the metrics like maybe a King HR would, as far as like people who actually like if you could spread out, like you have like Excel sheets of like who's actually watched it for booking reasons or all that. That's another show for another time. But like you said, you can't. I think you really have to throw the playbook out the window when it comes to these empty arena shows, because you're booking for heat, but is the heat on Twitter really indicator of whether the storyline is going good or not? I don't know. That's the thing. But one really quick thing I wanted to mention from SmackDown. I really like the AJ Styles backstage interview with Sarah Schreiber. And AJ found out that he's fighting Matt Riddle tomorrow night for the Intercontinental Championship. Just seeing AJ's reaction to that was hilarious. I just wanted to mention that. Yeah, and that is going to be an awesome match tomorrow night. I mean, AJ Styles is obviously one of the best in the world. And Matt Riddle has just been he's had both of his matches on SmackDown have been top quality matches with AJ Styles. And then the match he had with John Morrison a couple weeks ago was just a fantastic match too. So I think that's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to that tomorrow night. I think that's going to be just a great match overall. Let's see. What else from SmackDown? Your two favorites, Bayley and Sasha Banks. Come up with a victory, fine, whatever. That's all good. And then, okay, so here. Let me talk about the karaoke segment. This is obviously the most controversial segment of the week,
right?
And I mean, Naomi even went on to her own Instagram and said sometimes you got to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. So even she recognized that the segment was kind of lame. And it was. I mean, like let's not beat around the bush. It was what it was. I will say, Lacey Evans doing the Road Dogg, Jeff Jarrett was pretty funny. I thought that was pretty. And Lacey Evans actually has a very nice voice. So I was, among other nice things that she has. Yeah. Do you want to say military waterfall?
No, we'll keep it classy waterfall.
Oh, classy waterfall. Okay, very good. Yes. So that was good. Dana Brooke was actually kind of funny. And then of course, when you knew Naomi was going to win the karaoke battle royal, and then of course it evolved into a match. So, I mean, it wasn't the greatest segment. It at least gets them on TV, which I mean, better to have them on TV than to not. But they needed filler. They obviously couldn't come up with something else for them to do. So, but it was what it was. What do you think?
Couple things really quick. I don't enjoy transcribing Bayley promos. I want to get that out of the way. But I actually enjoyed the Bayley Sasha match with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, their tag match. I'll say this: as much as I've been critical over the stuff with the over expanded TV time for Bayley and Sasha Banks every single week, I think especially this week in particular, they've been having some really good matches as well. And we'll say that when we get to Raw for their main event from past Monday night. But going back to the karaoke segment, I agree with you. My only saving grace from this segment was Lacey Evans, and not only her singing that song, it's a great song. Spend my days working hard on the go. And
it is a good song. It really is.
Tonight. I know.
Close the door. We'll leave everyone and the world behind. All right, go ahead.
Yes. I am a Bruce Pritchard mark at fault. But anyways, the best part of it was for her actually going back as a heel, because Lacey Evans is a heel, and while I didn't mind her being a baby face, her natural element is a heel, and I'm glad we can get the real sassy, sexy Southern Belle back to her roots. So if all that shenanigans and nonsense was to get Lacey back to being a heel, then that's fine with me.
Cool. And then let's see. And then of course the main event, you had the New Day defending against Nakamura and Cesaro, and in a no contest. If they do a kickoff show, maybe they'll throw this on the kickoff show.
Yeah,
a rematch. Yeah.
Okay, but you can see why they wanted to continue on. That was my thoughts of it.
And it's fine. I guess my biggest thing, Josh, and you know me, because I'm a huge Shinsuke Nakamura fan. Have been ever since his debut. And it just seems like for the last year, he's just been kind of used as filler and kind of just hanging around in this group with Cesaro. And it's just, I feel there's so much more that they could do with him. And he's just being wasted, you know? And maybe it's one of those things where they don't have anything for him right now. And eventually they'll find something once you get crowds back. And, you know, because his theme song was incredibly over when he was a face. I'm just disappointed in Shinsuke Nakamura and where his career has been since his WWE title match with Jinder Mahal. Really in 2017, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he won the Royal Rumble, got to face AJ Styles at Mania. That's the moment. Ever since, you know, he low blowed Styles, it's kind of just gone downhill for him, and it's really been disappointing for me. But that's just me.
Yeah, I see what you're coming from. I think a lot of this is kind of something where you have to take a step back, think about that. That was only a year and a half ago, where Nakamura actually did win the Rumble and all that stuff. Yeah, maybe Nakamura is in a holding pattern right now, but I feel what's unfortunate, because I actually enjoyed Nakamura's rivalry with AJ, especially their Money in the Bank match that they had here in Chicago, the last man standing match. Like him doing the low blows, like it's fine. Like it didn't really bother me, but maybe for other people it soured just the overall vibe for him. But maybe he's one of those wrestlers that could have another run in NXT or something like that. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but if this is something that could work with Cesaro and him as a tag team, sign me up. But sooner or later, I like to see Nakamura going back to being a babyface because that's what his character is. So
I think so too.
My thing.
Yeah, me too. The other thing too, Josh, is if Cesaro is just going to keep doing these sorts of things, just being in tag teams and groups. I remember when he went over to NXT UK and got a huge pop. I actually would be okay with Cesaro going back to NXT UK, maybe being in. No,
I'm not. No, I want that to happen. What I'm trying to say is, you're making me sad. I miss. For Hoodie, if you're listening, good brother, that's our favorite show. NXT is my favorite. NXT UK is my favorite pro wrestling show right now, and it's a shame that I haven't been able to watch that show in months. Damn you!
I know it.
But Cesaro has been fantastic in that brand. Absolutely.
I could imagine a match between Cesaro and Walter for the NXT UK Championship. Like, how incredible would that be?
Yeah. Well, even run it up again with Dragunov.
Oh, yeah. Him or Pete Dunne. I mean, you could have – there's a ton of incredible matches that Cesaro – so I'd be okay with Cesaro going to NXT UK and kicking some serious ass over there. I think that would be terrific.
I agree.
I think I could see that for sure. Anything else from SmackDown this week, Josh?
No, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it was what it was. And again, 52 weeks out of television. I mean, I've seen a lot worse shows from other shows than this. So that's my thoughts.
Cool. Well, let's switch gears then and let's talk about Raw this week. I really enjoyed Raw this week. I thought Raw was a solid show from top to bottom. To me, obviously, the big things to come back were the return of Bianca BelAir, which I was thrilled to see. The EST of the WWE back on TV. I thought that was great. And, of course, Shayna Baszler coming back. So happy to see both of them back. I don't know why it's taken so long for Shayna Baszler to get back on television. I guess they didn't really have anything for her. And now they're finally figuring out ways to get her back on TV. So very, very, very excited about that. I think that's just going to lead to some really, really great things. So I was very, very, very happy about that. Let's see. What else well, let's just start from the beginning, Josh. You've got Drew McIntyre. He's really upping his rivalry with Dolph Ziggler going into this weekend. And we still don't know what the stipulation is. So I think that's very interesting. And I don't know, are they going to reveal the stipulation right before the match? I don't know. But because I could see that too, where he's not going to reveal the stipulation. And I could also see the stipulation being at the very beginning, the Claymore is banned. And if you use the Claymore, you lose the WWE Championship. So I could see that. I think you said that a couple weeks ago, and I like that idea. So, but yeah, so I thought that was really, really terrific. To me, MVP is still been one of the MVPs of Raw. No doubt about it. Like every week, he just continues to get better and better and better. And I love not only what he's doing with the United States picture, but now how he's getting involved in the world title picture as well. So I think that's absolutely terrific. So many great things. What did you think of that segment, Josh? What did you think of the Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler stuff?
I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say this was my favorite part of Raw, but I really enjoyed this as far as the talking segments that were on the show this week. Again, MVP is just doing amazing work, so always good to hear VIP Lounge. Like you said last week, big things popping, little things stopping.
Right. I still ask Josh, what happens if MVP and MJF were together? Like they both say they're better than you. You know, it's just like.
Yeah,
what would happen? I think the world would explode. Yeah.
Let's add EC3 and let's have the triple threat match since they're all basically the same. So
sure.
Oh God. Okay, so here's the thing in the back of my head, and trying to understand the concept of the pay-per-view on Sunday when we make our predictions later. Just the theme of it is called the horror show. So depending on what the stipulation is, if it's something that maybe on the surface wouldn't seem like it would make sense, like an eye for an eye match, but it actually does. Maybe if it's something that's unorthodox, whatever the stipulation is, understand it's not just the wrestling playbook. It's what the theme of the show is. I don't know how many cinematic matches are going to be on this show, to be honest with you. I know for sure it's the Braun Strowman Bray Wyatt match. Obviously, it's a swamp fight. And then I think the other one they said may have been Rollins and Mysterio for their match with the eye for an eye. And we'll get to that a little bit. But as far as this match is concerned, I just really like it. Dolph Ziggler has made the best out of this situation coming back in Raw. And it was a feud that made sense with having backstory of Dolph being quote unquote responsible for Drew McIntyre's success. That's always some good heel stuff. And MVP thinking Dolph Ziggler, which I thought was pretty funny. I thought McIntyre's promo was pretty good too. Mentioned the fact that Dolph Ziggler is kind of a guy that uses people to further him along. Big E, AJ Lee, Mandy Rose, the list goes on and on. But overall, I thought this was a really good talking segment, and I kind of feel bad for Drew McIntyre because maybe some people are down on his tirade just over the overlaying factor, the fact that we have these empty arena shows, but that's out of his control. And I think the match he had with Rollins at Money in the Bank was good. The match he had with Lashley at Backlash was good as well. So I think McIntyre's been doing good stuff as a champion, but I am curious to see what the stipulation is, and we can get to that later on when we make our predictions.
Yeah, for sure. And you're right. Matt, everybody, I feel, is trying to make the best they can of a bad situation. The show must go on, as they say, and everyone's just trying to do their best. We don't know how long this thing is going to last. News reports came out yesterday, I believe, that the initial phases of a vaccine for COVID seem to have positive results. So it looks like that.
Is that new news? Is that new news? Is
that report came out yesterday, I believe.
Okay.
Let me pull up from the Associated Press there. But yeah, so initial report said that a COVID vaccine, the initial tests said that it looked positive, that it started creating. Let's see. I'm trying to find the story here. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the story. But yeah, everyone's trying to do the best they can. Let's see. Experimental COVID-19 vaccine safe, generates immune response. This was Tuesday. Okay. So
yeah, I've been out of the loop with the COVID news because a lot of this always goes back to the president stuff, and I try to stay away as much as I could from that.
And that's why I get my news from, like if it comes from Associated Press or Reuters, that's usually pretty down the middle. And both of them said, it looks like a sponsored COVID vaccine had positive results. So we could be seeing something hopefully by the end of the year, which would be terrific. But, everybody's doing their best to make the best of a bad situation. I feel bad for Drew McIntyre, man. He finally gets to the top of the mountain, can't really have his WrestleMania moment. I mean, he did, but he didn't kind of thing, So I'm hoping that they'll keep the title on him at least through when crowds come back, because he's earned it. He's carrying the company through this difficult time and is really making the best of it. So
and it's another thing too with him becoming champion. Nothing about him has really changed.
Right.
I get it. He's like the babyface character. He's not as much of a heel like he was with his feud with Roman Reigns, which is underrated feud in my opinion. But Drew McIntyre's doing some really good work, and I'm happy for him. And I think him and Ziggler could have one of the best matches on the show on Sunday, so it should be pretty interesting.
They're both very talented. There's no question about it. So we'll see what happens with that. Andrade and Angel Garza defeat the Viking Raiders in the elimination tag team match.
Yep. Pretty good match.
Yep.
I gotta say, the counter spot where how Arfart tries to do that like leaping senton out of the corner, the way Garza did the power bomb for the finish, I thought that was pretty smooth spot because with transcribing these shows, there's so many matches where you have false finishes and clever counters here and there. this one I thought was really smart and effective. Like some shows and matches overdo their false finishes and counters. This one I thought was really smart, and Angel Garza is a tremendous wrestler, so I thought that was a solid match.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that they're all of them are doing great work. So I thought that's great. By the way, Josh, I just thought of something too. Going back to SmackDown for a second, we haven't seen Otis or Mandy Rose or Sonya Deville for a little while, which I think is interesting. I wonder, and Tucker too. I wonder why that is.
I'm holding out hope that we see them tomorrow.
Oh, okay, yeah. We can come back because they've been doing some great work. And again, I think it's interesting that Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are nowhere near the SmackDown Women's Championship because they don't need to be. I just think that that's very interesting.
They could have a match on Sunday.
They could.
That's why we can wait till tomorrow.
Absolutely. Okay. Were you happy to see Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler back?
Yeah. So let me start off with Bianca real quick. I'm happy to see her because with her athleticism, she can really do a lot of good for herself in the future as far as making money and being a box office attraction. Her promos, the way she looks, the way she carries herself is all pretty money. Like I think Bianca Belair has it all, to be honest with you, as far as what you want out of a superstar in the female division. So I thought it was great to see her back. Iconics are always funny, and boy, Sean Spears outkicked his coverage. But going to Shayna Baszler, I wanted to read the promo really quick from Shayna Baszler as I wrote this down. Pretty funny scenario where you have R-Truth still having this feud with the Ninja Club, and Cesaro. So it makes sense for Baszler to come out, choke out all the ninjas, and Truth wisely gets out of the ring. She says here, "I have been so patient. I've allowed everyone here to have their fun. I am done. All these weak-minded women's champions are running around fooling themselves under the delusion that they're in control, that the limbs and the tears left in my wake are nothing but a distant memory. Well, the Queen of Spades is here to shatter that illusion by hitting you with a hard dose of reality, and I am that reality." I said it before we found out that Becky was pregnant, that I originally wanted Baszler to win the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. I thought that was a mistake for having Becky retain, but what you gonna do, pal? Right? So I'm glad that she's back on TV. We had the conversation a couple weeks ago. Was really Sasha the best option for Asuka for this pay-per-view? I say no. It was Shayna Baszler, but you probably have a better match off of it at SummerSlam. So I'm glad that she's back, and she cut a really good promo on Monday.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I'm glad she's back, and now that she's back, I definitely think we're going to see Baszler versus Asuka. Well, and maybe spoiler alert of one of my predictions, but I definitely think we're going to get Shayna Baszler versus Asuka at SummerSlam. Yeah. So I think that's going to be absolutely terrific. So that's going to be great. Josh, maybe this is just me, but you could put Aleister Black and Murphy on TV for 30 minutes, and it would be absolutely fantastic because those two guys just every time they deliver. It was another great match on Raw between the two of them.
I'm glad you said that because that's the good case of, a lot of times in WWE program, there are a lot of rematches. And from my point of view of writing these down, like, let's say, like, remember when Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins fought a gazillion times on Monday Night Raw? It's kind of the same feel I have here with Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy. The match is going to be good, and I know there's sequences in the back of my head, so it's easier match to jot down. So I think Buddy Murphy's the most underrated wrestler in the WWE right now, especially on the Raw brand, and the match was pretty good. I do want to mention, though, you mentioned it well on Twitter as well on Monday. Seth Rollins' promos outside of Edge and Randy Orton during this quarantine session era that we're in has been marvelous. Again, the texture, the storyline, they put a clip out on Twitter the other day from Seth Rollins attacking Rey Mysterio in December. It's like, damn, Rey, an eye for an eye. And going back to long-term storytelling that I've been saying ever since this feud restarted again. I love everything that Seth Rollins is doing. Yeah, I was not surprised that program took over 45 minutes of hour number 2. But guess what? You had a good segment with him and Kevin Owens, and you had 2 really good matches after that. So, yeah, I get it. You're finding ways to fill time throughout a 3-hour show. But if you're having good content and you're having good action, then what else do you really need? Right. So I really enjoyed the Black and Murphy match and the Kevin Owens Seth Rollins match as well.
It was a rematch from WrestleMania, that was one of the highlight matches from WrestleMania was Kevin Owens
yes
Seth Rollins, and we got it again. So people that complain, oh my God, we're getting the same old stuff. It's like, okay, so basically what you're saying is you're complaining about bad wrestling on television. That's exactly so. That's what you're saying if you're complaining about that. It's
lazy.
But again, Josh, we keep coming back to this. You can't book this stuff the way you would book a normal program because we're in a pandemic. You have to do things differently. You have to. But again, like people are complaining about bad wrestling on television. Like, what?
What's the one thing that we always say on this show? Consider the source.
Right.
Where do a lot of these complaints come from?
Twitter.
There you go. Tells you everything you need to know.
There's a reason why certain wrestling companies don't listen to the Twitter and certain wrestling companies that do. And we're going to get into one of the companies that listens to Twitter in a little bit. Mm. But, okay. Randy Orton, R-Truth, Big Show.
Yes,
I kind of liked this segment this week, and it looks like we're going to get the Randy Orton Big Show. They're not going to do it at Extreme Rules. They're going to do it next week on Raw, an unsanctioned match between the two. And I'm very curious to see if this is going to lead to Edge coming back, and then Edge and Orton going at it one more time at SummerSlam. You know, because I think Orton's going to try to kill the Big Show, you know, with the Legend Killer gimmick and take out another legend. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know, because I think Edge is going to be medically cleared before SummerSlam. I don't know.
No, I think it'd probably be a couple more months.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how long tricep surgeries are supposed to go, but I don't think it's a 2-month thing.
Okay.
But I think it's a good decision that they're pushing Orton and Big Show to next week's show instead of on the pay-per-view. I had two ways of thinking about this, because either Randy Orton could, he could go after the WWE title maybe at SummerSlam, or I thought maybe Randy would have a program with Kevin Owens after Extreme Rules, because Kevin really is not feuding with anybody. Like, he's on the side with Seth Rollins, the little side thing with him and Rey Mysterio, but Kevin Owens really doesn't have a feud. Or maybe Randy Orton gets in a feud with Aleister Black,
right?
Wherever the situation is. But Randy Orton, the promo he cut backstage this week was really, really good.
Yeah,
bummed out that the WWE digital department did not air that on their YouTube channel, because that would have been a great addition for this week's show, and also for the article that I put out on Monday. That was some really good stuff. So. But
come on, WWE marketing team, what's the matter with you?
Damn it, pal!
Damn it, pal!
You're gonna leave the good shit off the YouTube channel? Come on, man. So yeah, Reynolds doing some good stuff, and a smart choice to have them on next week instead of having them feel like, okay, it was what it was on the pay-per-view.
So here's my question, Josh. Why, after Randy Orton basically squashed R-Truth, why wouldn't he just quickly pin him again and win the 24/7 championship?
Randy does not need that.
I know.
But Ric Flair could have came in and did that.
Oh, that would have been awesome if Ric Flair would have come in and won the 24/7 championship. Oh, that would have been great. By the way, Josh, R-Truth is a 37-time 24/7 champion. Does that make him the greatest champion in all of WWE history?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I think that's funny.
Yeah, he's gonna say in this Hall of Fame speech that Ric Flair and John Cena have nothing on him.
And he's right. I mean, he's like, yeah, 16 world championships, that's fine. I won the 24/7, 48/7 European 7-Eleven television champion 37 times. And everyone's going to laugh and clap. Oh, it's going to be great. Oh, that's going to be funny. Bobby Lashley, Ricochet this week. I'm glad to see Ricochet and Cedric Alexander back. I think that those two are very talented as well. I like MVP's trying to recruit for his stable and is not having a lot of success. I think at some point somebody needs to join MVP and Bobby Lashley. And I don't know who it's going to be. Maybe, that could be good for Cedric Alexander, actually, to join that stable. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Maybe both of them will join the stable. So
That could be.
You have Lashley, Cedric, Ricochet, and R-Truth.
Oh, that could be interesting. But then what? But who would they face? What could they?
Well, that depends. You could go throughout the whole roster. Like I don't see the Street Profits turning heel. Like
no.
Initially, you would thought, okay, Street Profits and maybe Cedric Alexander would work well with that group, but I think it'd be the other way around with Cedric and Ricochet to be in that group. So.
I also noticed, speaking of stables, we didn't see Natty or Lana or Liv Morgan this week on WWE television, which I hope we'll see them again on Raw next week, because I really would like to see that Natty stable form with Natty and Lana and, the disgruntled workers and we build each other up kind of thing. I would like to see that. Man,
it's always a missed opportunity when you don't have Liv Morgan Waterfall on the show, so I'll say that.
Yes, I agree. Okay, and then let's get into the main event. You have the Kabuki Warriors against the Boston Hug Connection, or Sasha and Bailey. And Josh, I actually thought this was a good match. I did. And it's obvious that Asuka and Kairi carried Sasha and Bailey through that match, but that's how good they are.
Yes.
But Asuka and Kairi were definitely the stars of that. They definitely were the stars of the show. No surprises that they retained. Always happy to see Asuka and Kairi Sane on TV. Also, Josh, I thought it was interesting on Raw Talk, Kairi Sane challenged Asuka to a match, which I thought was very interesting. And I actually think we could see that next week on Raw, potentially. So, but what did you think of the main event of Raw this week?
The Golden Rule Models, aka the Change My Channel connection. Totally kidding. Totally kidding. I know I'll get a paragraph rant from Matt if I really meant to. No, I don't. This tag title match on Raw Monday was probably one of the best women's tag team title matches I've seen since this title was created. It was really, really, really good. And I think sometimes Bailey's in the ring work is kind of sloppy at times, where she relies too much on punching people in the back instead of actually working holds. Like, just the way she moves around the ring is kind of all over the place sometimes. But shout out to the referee John Cone in the match as well. I thought he did a good job. You need to have rules in tag team matches. You gotta follow rules. There's a thing called the tag rope. I'm gonna try to do my southern accent. You gotta grab the tag rope. You gotta make sure you get out of the ring 5 seconds, not 30 seconds after the tag is made.
Should we just play the song now, Josh, or should we wait for?
Well, here's the question: Am I playing the song, or are you playing the song?
I'll have to make some adjustments to my setup in here, but I can play the song here in a little bit. But anyways, go ahead.
No, like I was saying, I thought it was just a really good match from top to bottom, and the ladies just did a really good job. And I think WWE's been relying a little bit too much on roll-up finishes on TV recently, and it's glad to see Sasha actually won with a maneuver than just a regular cheap roll-up. textbook, whatever combination you wanted. You know, it's crazy. I say that, but we have to understand that wrestling matches could end with wrestling holds. You know, that's kind of the thing we kind of forget at wrestling fans. Oh, really? A roll up? That's the finish you want to go with? Hey, it is a wrestling move after all. So I see, even I could catch my own stuff at the time. So no, it was a really good match, and Kairi Sane was absolutely tremendous in this match, and she did a wonderful job.
What have I been saying for a long time, Josh? Kairi Sane, she's my girl. Love that Kairi Sane. I've been a fan for sure. Okay, anything else from Raw this week, Josh? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think overall I was really happy with Raw this week, and I really, really enjoyed the show. Top to bottom, very solid top to bottom show. Good momentum for the Red brand heading into Extreme Rules, and I think it's going to be just a really, really wonderful show this weekend, which we're going to get into here in a little bit. Okay, let's switch gears real quick. And before we get into our favorite segment of the week, which is always our favorite segment of the week, Josh, would you do us a favor? And I know you had the opportunity to watch NXT last night. So would you do us a quick favor and just recap NXT and say anything that you'd like to say about the show?
Yes, NXT last night, WWE. No, it was not a network. It was on USA. So last night we started off the show with Keith Lee. Just expanding on his gratefulness for the support he's been getting over the last couple of weeks, just with him becoming the new double champion. Nice shout out to his trainer, Killer Tim Brooks, who unfortunately passed away a couple of weeks ago. So that was really nice part of that promo. It got to the point where Keith Lee brought out his frenemy, as he called it, Dominic Dijakovic. These guys had a rivalry with each other in NXT that really put both of them on the map, and it led to a winner takes all match. So Lee wanted to give Dijakovic an opportunity on the show, and I thought it was a pretty cool segment. Get to hear Dijakovic cut a promo as well. So it's always nice to see that. And Lee and Dijakovic never had bad matches. I mean, go check out what they did last night. The way they could work, it's crazy. Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic could sell for each other, but other matches, it's like an eye roll for other performers. It's interesting how that works, but it was a tremendous match. Go check out. Keith Lee did retain, but the big part of it was Scarlett after the match walked down to the ring, as I call her, Lake Michigan waterfall. She walked down to the ring. She symbolizing that, Keith Lee's title run is on borrowed time. And that's always the case when it comes to Karrion Kross. I call him Killer Kross, but Karrion Kross, TikTok, sands the hourglass. It's going down. And Killer Kross attacked Dijakovic backstage. So they're going to be having a match next week on NXT. That's going to be pretty good. So some good stuff there. That's what stood out really quick for me from Keith Lee and stuff. Damian Priest and Cameron Grimes had a really good match. Cameron Grimes' gimmick is kind of odd to me. Just thrown off with the Tom Petty don't come around here no more hat that he wears to the ring all the time. But Damian Priest is the man, and it was cool to see him do what he does. Here's the thing: NXT is kind of in a conundrum with like New Japan, is because Keith Lee has both titles now. So is Keith Lee gonna be defending titles multiple times on the show, or sporadically throughout weeks? It's kind of different. It's kind of like New Japan Pro Wrestling, which we'll get into in a couple minutes as well. They have a double champion as well. So I'm curious to see how that goes. And then besides, again, Damian Priest had a good match with Cameron Grimes, like I mentioned. I want to give a shout out to Legado del Fantasma, the new group that has Santo Escobar, and they're all part of the Cruiserweight division. They had a really nice vignette. It's on the WWE YouTube channel. You guys go check it out. Actually, you don't have to check it out. You can go back into the intro of the podcast this week and hear it for yourself. So Legado del Fantasma are doing some really good work there as well. And I just like the look of the group. And like I told Brother Carter last week, their goal of their group is to restore the honor of lucha wrestling than just relying on masks. So it's kind of like Imperium, where they're trying to restore the sacred of the mat by wrestling and holding tag ropes instead of doing flippy spots. And they're doing what FTR proclaims that they want to do in the ring, and that's something we'll get to later on. But Legado del Fantasma are doing some good shit. And then the main event was Tegan Nox, Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. Io retains. Very good match. I think they went over 20 minutes. And Dakota Kai attacked Io Shirai at the end of the show, so it looks like she is next in line for the NXT Women's Championship. So I thought really strong episode from NXT, just mat-based wrestling. NXT, since we've been doing this big old Wednesday Night Wars thing, it's just been the more serious show focused on wrestling, in my opinion, from the other two shows that they have that night. So NXT was pretty solid last night.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard that the Tegan Nox Io Shirai match was fantastic. And I mean, we've talked about this before, Josh. The NXT women's division from top to bottom is just stacked with talent. Yeah, I mean, you could put almost any of them in there as NXT women's champion, and it would be just fine. Like, I'd be okay with Tegan Nox, Dakota Kai, Shotzi Blackheart, obviously Mia Yim, Io Shirai, hell, even Candice LeRae. You know, any of them. I'd be okay with as the NXT Women's Champion because they're just doing great work. Go ahead.
It's creative time with Joshie. I'll try to figure out what's going on next with Finn Balor and Tommaso Ciampa. And so guess what, folks? Get your pencils out. Don't have the eraser. Now remember, two most dangerous weapons in wrestling: the roll-up and the eraser. Shout out to JR for that. But no, seriously, I would put Finn Balor into a feud with Tommaso Ciampa. Boom. You're welcome.
Yes. Yeah. No, I like that idea. Well, and in fact, Tommaso Ciampa even posted on social media, he's like, creatives told me they've got nothing for me. And I'm like, how do you have nothing for Tommaso Ciampa? He's one of the greatest talents that you have. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But okay, Josh, if you give me just a moment here, I need to make a switch. Hang on just a second. I'm going to make a quick change to my setup here, Josh, because it's time for us to switch gears. And we're going to switch gears to go ahead.
One thing I mentioned really quick, what happened outside with the New Japan stuff really quick. Mm-hmm. Okay. I just wanted to pull this up really quick because poor. It sucks. We're not gonna have enough time to like break down the shows. I just wanted to run down really quick what's going on with Slammiversary and all this extra stuff. So we're fair. We're not just doing the same old. Impact on Saturday are having their Slammiversary pay-per-view in Nashville, the same stage studio they've been using during this coronavirus pandemic. Here's the matches for the show. Moose against Tommy Dreamer in the old school rules match, which basically means the Extreme Rules. They're fighting for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Moose will retain there. The North against Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan. I'm looking forward to that match. I got Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan winning. The Rascals are having an open challenge. I think that'll be accepted by the Good Brothers. Let's throw the two sweets up there. Okay. And then here we go. We have a Knockouts Gauntlet match. Ty Valkyrie, Jessica Havoc, Nevaeh, great waterfall, by the way. Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steelz, Rosemary, Kimberly, Alicia Edwards, Kylie Ray, Susie Young, and Madison Rae. This is like 11 women gauntlet match. I don't know how long this match is going to be, but yeah, the women are having a gauntlet match on Saturday. I'm going to go with Kylie Ray to become the number one contender. She was one of the big attractions. I thought that was going to work out for the AEW Women's Division, but that didn't work out for whatever reason. Willie Mack Against Chris Bay for the X Division Championship, I got Willie Mack retaining. Jordan Grace against Deonna Purrazzo, I got Jordan Grace retaining as well. And then finally, Eddie Edwards against Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, and a mystery person in a fatal four-way match. I have Bully Ray coming in and winning the Impact World Champion, and the return of one of the great groups of all time, Brother Carter, the Aces and Eights.
You know, Josh, I actually really liked the Aces and Eights faction. I did. I did. No, I thought Aces and Eights was a great faction, and I liked that. It was a cool theme song, too.
One of the good parts of the Dixie Carter era. Yeah, for sure, yes.
And that's interesting because I'm saying that the new Impact World Champion is going to be in the top 1%. And I think it's going to be EC3 is going to return.
Triple.
Yep, and get that there. So that's cool. But
that was Impact. And then finally, really quick from Dominion, the big talking point everybody was surprised over the weekend was Evil, one of my favorite wrestlers in New Japan, formerly of Los Ingobernables de Japón, LIJ. He turned on the group and he joined Bullet Club. So Evil turned on LIJ and joined the Bullet Club since all the other main stars for Bullet Club cannot be there due to this coronavirus stuff. Big surprise, Evil won the New Japan Cup. He beat Okada, and he got associated with a guy named Dick Togo. Now, for those who don't know who Dick Togo is, he's a experienced Japanese wrestler, and he's also the third guy from Kaientai back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Yes. So, Evil is now part of Bull Club. That was a big shocking news there. Also, Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi beat Tanahashi and Ibushi for the IWGP Tag Team titles. That match, Brother Carter, was 28 minutes. Some of the title matches are so long, I don't know how I'm able to type all this crap out. So overall, I thought Dominion was a good show. If you want to find out other action, if you want to see what else happened on the show, make sure you go check out ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. I have all my New Japan articles there. And make sure to go check out Shingo Takagi against Sho from Roppongi 3K on the on New Japan World if you guys have time to go check out Dominion. And also check out a wrestler named Danny Limelight. New Japan has a new show called Lions Break Collision that they have on NJPW World, where they're featuring younger talents from their Young Lions system. And Danny Limelight is a very impressive wrestler. So that's really quick. That's really it for the outside the bubble segment that we have here. So back to you, Brother Carter. I'm sorry.
Okay, Josh, I have been waiting for this for the last hour. Here we go. It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. Josh, I want to play the song again, but we don't have time because we have so much. What the hell is wrong with AEW? And we're just going to get right into it. And we're going to start right from the very beginning. Once again, the show is all about Cody, and he gets a shot. Okay, if records mean so much in AEW because they make a big deal, we're going to show records and stuff like that. How does somebody with a 6-9 record get a shot at a major title in AEW? Like, how does that make any sense if you're trying to, records are such a big deal and we're going to promote wins and losses and they matter? So you're saying somebody who is under 500, who lost more matches than they've won, deserves a title shot. Hey, did you see the match, Josh? It was awful. It was a terrible match. Both of them were horrible. The refereeing was worse. Have you noticed that all of the referees, the counts are slow and the referees are always out of position? But when they try to make a cover, they have to run around, get into position. So everything is basically a 4 count to win a match in AEW. But God, it was awful. It was bad. Like, I'm sorry, but there's no other way to say it, but it was terrible.
there's a reason why I put the win-loss records for every AEW article I do, so people could point out the hypocrisies over which company does 50-50 booking and other stuff like that everybody talks about every single week. Like, here's the thing. I thought Sonny Kiss did pretty well for himself in this match, for what his character is. I'm more used to covering his matches, so I know how he wrestles. I'll say sometimes the back handspring like slap that he tries to do in the corner all the time can be hit and miss sometimes. That move's called the rapid kiss missile. Crazy. I learned some of these names for these moves from Excalibur. Sometimes I dog on Excalibur, but he does a lot of move stuff, and he does help me out with some of these articles, so I'll give a shout to him. But here's my issue with the match. It wasn't really the match, it's the hypocrisy of what Cody Rhodes is. So here we are. Here's the baby face attacking Sonny Kiss literally after the bell rings. He's abusing referees 5 counts. He's throwing Kiss around the ringside area like the heel. Here's a lot of issues that I have at AEW. When you're watching the show, you don't know who's the baby face or the heel.
Nope.
And I'm surprised this is actually the one match that Arn Anderson didn't cheat in this match. Think about that. Figure out how that works. So, well, I'm trying to figure out some levity here and try to be balanced and fair here. My thing is, they keep harping on this, Tully Blanchard's watching in the background. So is this something where Cody has a faction where Cody turns on Arn and he joins Tully and they have a faction with Shawn Spears and FTR and all that? I know that's a big thing that a lot of people are talking about on Twitter. I don't have my thoughts on that yet because I haven't seen it for myself. For me, with wrestling, I need to watch it first before I have preconceived notions of what's going to happen, Brother Carter. So that's my thoughts on it. But again, Cody Rhodes is not a babyface. And I'm tired of this, let's save face and let's try to be positive guys so we can be over on Twitter because we're the new company and we're executive vice presidents. But in wrestling terms, as characters, we're heels. I'm not saying Cody Rhodes as a person as a heel. We need to separate that, folks, for those who are watching and listening. I'm not attacking Cody Rhodes and saying he's a two-faced person or anything like that, or even the Young Bucks or the Elite. But I put this on Twitter last night. Where's the real Cody Rhodes at? Where's the real Kenny Omega at? And where the hell is the real Elite at? Because they're all heels. All of them. They're all heels.
Well, speaking of this, Josh, that transitions into my next point. FTR is being booked as baby faces, but in their match they used heel tactics to win.
Yeah,
like it's like, but then they go and then they're trying to make peace with Kenny Omega, but then they pour beer on his head, but then they go steal beer, Butcher and Blade's vehicle or whatever. Like it's what?
Actually, FTR's vehicle.
Still, like. The point is, like, they used heel tactics to win their match. So, like, what is? You're right, Josh. I don't know who the heels and faces are.
Yeah, who are you supposed to cheer for?
Right, you have no idea. Well, and then the other thing is, you were talking about with WWE, they use you roll ups a lot and kind of, and that's like, I think AEW uses way too much the tearing between factions and drawing in, the baby face heel things. They use both of those things way too much. Like, I mean. And especially, and we're going to get into that here in a little bit with the Naturals or the Nightmare Sisters, which give me a freaking break. We're going to get into that here in just a little bit. That's just,
I'm so going in. I got Brandy's song stuck in my head over the last couple days. And then let me say this really quick though. I enjoyed a lot of the action from FTR and the Lucha Brothers outside of my regular like critiques and things noticing out with the referee, pulling off a double blind tag spot when the referee didn't see Pentagon tag Phoenix on the other side. It's like, just because you clap your hand does not mean it's a tag. Right. So, like, again, I'm as more of the weeks go by, the more I'm becoming numb to my thoughts on the referees because they're not going to change. Because Aubrey Edwards has a personality, so she's Teflon for doing anything wrong in the ring, right? So, like, I don't know. Like, they need good referees. I rather see good referees that actually help placate the story, which is actually their role there. They're not just there to make the 3 count. They're actually helping out your match layout be good. And there's a lot of good referees out there. And it's the reason why I retweet a lot of what Jimmy Corderas points out, because if I could notice it and a real pro is noticing these referee issues, you would think it would be addressed by now. But no, this is the Teflon company. But I don't want that to take away, because I thought FTR and the Lucha Brothers had a really good match for what it was. And I was kind of surprised that the Lucha Brothers were actually cutting the ring in half and actually applying some tag team strategy in their match. So I thought the match was good. What I didn't like, Brett Carter, was the post-match stuff.
No.
With the Young Bucks. Everything they're building with this feud with the Young Bucks and FTR has sucked so far, terrible, in my opinion.
I agree with you. It's been terrible. And it's just like you said, are we friends? Are we enemies? Like, we know we're going to get this. Eventually, it's all going to explode and we're all going to try to fight each other or whatever. But no, the build has been stupid. It's been repetitive. It's been they haven't told the story well at all. I think it's been it's been awful. Okay. Josh, what the hell is wrong with AEW? Le Champion.
Oh, God. Man. Now you're gonna get me pissed off. Go ahead.
Le Champion, my man. I love Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is one of my favorite performers, really, in the world right now. I love Chris Jericho. He comes out and brags about ratings. He brags that he is winning the 18 to 49 demographic on Wednesday nights. AEW is touting that ratings matter. You remember the last company, Josh, that focused on ratings?
Yes.
And what happened to that company, Josh?
I don't believe they exist anymore.
Correct. Really? You're like, do we not understand in 2020 ratings don't freaking matter? Let me say that again, Josh. Ratings don't freaking matter. And Jericho, the main signing, like the face of AEW, right, comes out and touts ratings. What the hell, man? Like, do these guys who have started their own wrestling company are going to be the alternative, are going to change? Do they not understand how the wrestling business works? Go ahead, Josh.
You know, when you have the moments where you see something on social media and your jaw drops. I told Brother Carter that I did not watch Fight for the Fallen live because I was covering NXT while it was going on, right? So I didn't know what was going on. I was in the middle of a commercial break and I was adding like a match clip onto the article. I refreshed the Twitter screen and I see this demo god, and I see these scrolling tweets of, oh my God, he's talking about demos. Oh my God, he called himself the demo god. And I had that literal like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Please tell me I'm not reading what I'm reading right now. So I had to go find it myself. And again, shout out to where credit was due. AEW on TT do a pretty good job of airing a lot of the promo clips and stuff on their Twitter account. So you can follow on with the program. And they're usually good about bringing it out pretty out quickly, actually, after the segments are over too. And I had to hear this shit for myself because I needed a good laugh, because I can't believe this was actually went down on a wrestling television show. Ratings should not matter to wrestling fans. It's not that ratings don't matter. It should not matter to your audience while you're having a effing show. Stamford, Connecticut has so much space inside Tony Khan's head. It's absolutely ridiculous. You would think they had an Airbnb in there for over a year. Because everything that show is what's wrong with WWE. We're doing what the hell is what's wrong with AEW. That's what Dynamite is. They're saying what's wrong with WWE, and they're going to mention it on their show. Okay. I put this on Twitter last night, and I want to get your thoughts in. So he's going on a soliloquy about the 18 and 49 demographic by using Nielsen, by the way, which is really an accurate source of information, kind of like the Wrestling Observer that Jericho loves so much as well, which is really kind of telling you where I'm going with this scenario here. Okay, we're comparing a show that's 18 to 49 to a show that's rated PG. So my question to you is, what are we actually comparing these shows to? What are we competing for? What are we doing all these stupid ass debates for? Why are we expending so much energy throughout the week about freaking ratings and people pretending to be bookers and people that understand the television business? They don't. Listen to the intro to the podcast last week that we aired from Eric Bischoff, and tells you how ridiculous the reporting on ratings are from the dirt sheets. I don't care about ratings when I'm watching a wrestling show. That's not in the back of my head. That shouldn't be the case. I'm not a reporter. This is the difference. I am a professional broadcaster, but I'm not a reporter. That's not stuff I need to worry about because I don't have sources. I'm not breaking down news stories. I don't have a website that is filled with rumors and reciting scripts and audio from Observer. That's not my website. That's not what I do for a living. I am a transcriber, and I'm here to give the information out to you guys. And the fact that I had to literally jot down this information while I was typing out last night made me sick in my stomach as I was typing out because how stupid it was. Picture how much money AEW had to spend in a TV segment while Jericho was cutting that promo. Think about that. You're spending money to talk about demographics just to turn around and talk about Orange Cassidy. Now, everything after that, after the promo, I thought was funny. You know, Orange Cassidy they get showered with orange juice. I thought that was funny. And then Jericho was pretty good on commentary last night. Yeah, but here's the thing. When you're wasting valuable TV time for a show that's really special and you're focusing on demos, he literally said on live television that demos are more important than the number of people that are watching your show. Think about that. This is a guy who I think is creative, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I've always been a big fan of Chris Jericho. And while I disagree with his assertion there, that doesn't mean I'm not a fan of his. I want to make that perfectly clear. But just the notion that you're going to waste valuable TV time that you're actually spending money on when you could have done something else and mentioned what's next for Chris Jericho. But again, we always have to bring up something that has something to do with the WWE. That happens every single show with AEW. Every single one. And that's the thing. Is that what your identity is? Because if your show and your identity is, oh, we're going to be petty and have the same style of wrestling matches that you can see in Ring of Honor and New Japan, then what the fuck is the purpose of your show?
Right.
Okay, demos are more important than viewers. According to who? Because NXT has good demos for their category in PG, if that's what we're comparing it to. Like, again, here's the question, and I'll have you answer this, Brett Carter. When you're having 1849 against PG, what are we competing for?
It's apple. You're comparing apples to oranges at that point. It's two completely different shows, and you're trying to target two completely different audiences. And if you think about it, WWE is using a PG product. Why? They're trying to get kids. They're trying to build lifelong fans. And if they can get those kids hooked and get those parents spending money on those kids, and then when those kids grow up, they're going to be watching WWE for the rest of their lives. Like, they're getting kids at an early age, man. Like, you're just comparing apples to oranges here. Like, it's two completely different products.
It's so stupid, man.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Every single week, the Wednesday Night Wars concept gets goofier than originally was. That promo did absolutely nothing for me. It didn't serve the show any purpose. I've had people reach out to me and said that they switched the channel after they heard Jericho cutting that promo. What was the purpose of that?
I don't know. I don't get it. And it's because Jericho is smarter than that, though. unless that's what creative told him to say, is like, okay, you're going to go cut out a promo on ratings. But you would think Jericho would be smart enough to go, guys, I don't know if this is a good idea.
Yeah. And what was the issue that WCW always had with?
They focused on ratings.
Not just ratings, but acknowledging competition. When you go on live TV and say, "Oh, don't change it to Tony," I like what Tony Schiavone's done on commentary. I think he's a great broadcaster. But let's see facts. Tony Schiavone going on a soliloquy saying, "Oh, Mick Foley winning the WWE title on Raw is going to really put butts in seats." Guess what? It did.
Right.
You had to mention it.
And that's not his fault. He was just doing what he was told.
Right. And here's the thing. When you're addressing competition, people are going to go see what you're talking about.
Josh, I almost feel like we need to put my opinion article every single week, because it just week after week, AEW proves why WWE is the best wrestling company in the world.
When you're addressing something that you don't like, you're adding on to the problem that you're already having.
Correct.
And okay, the Demo God. What a clever name. How many more monikers does Jericho need these days? And that's a shame, because I actually liked what he did after the fact with Orange Cassidy and all that other stuff. But it's wasting TV time is something that you should not do when you're a new pro wrestling company. No. The fact that Stamford, Connecticut still has so much of an Airbnb over these fucking people's heads is insane. You can hear it throughout commentary. You can hear it in snide remarks in the promos. Yep. It's ridiculous.
No, it's awful. It's awful. Okay. Well, let's move on, Josh. The Be the Elite theme song is so stupid. Be the Elite Super Kick Party. It reminds me of the 3 Count theme song from WCW. Shout out to my boy Matt McCool for that one. But no, Josh, I know you hate the Sami Zayn song. I can't stand the Be the Elite song. I think it's so stupid.
Is that the one that you just can't listen to?
We all have our one. I can't stand.
I mute the TV when I hear Sami Zayn's entrance. But I guess we're having our debate now, because we have two thoughts on this match. But go ahead.
We do. Let's get in. All right, that's fine. Let's get into it. Okay. So here's the thing, Josh. I understand why you would not have liked the 6-man tag match between the Elite and Jurassic Express. Because for you as a transcriber, you probably thought there's no flow to the match. And all it was just 6 guys doing spots for however long the match happened, and they didn't really tell a story, right?
Yeah.
Now, for me, I get that, and I understand that. However, that, because of how good all of them are and how cool the spots were and how really great action we saw, to me, that's okay. That I was okay with them having such really cool spots and really showing just how talented they are. I even am going to give a little bit of props to Stunted Growth, because I actually thought he did okay in that match. And maybe it was because the other 5 performers made him look really good. Because, let's just say what it is. Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, they're all really good wrestlers. I think they're all just really, really talented in-ring performers. AEW needs to build their company around people like MJF. Jungle Boy, I think you can put Jungle Boy into that core homegrown AEW talent. Jungle Boy is very talented with that. But again, for me, all of the cool spots and the great in-ring action supersedes the perhaps lack of storytelling in the match. But go ahead.
One thing I forgot to mention with the Jericho stuff, it would have been better to have a 4-minute MJF promo on the show than that nonsense that we had to listen to.
Where was MJF this week?
Yeah, chilling at ringside with the people still not wearing masks. How about that?
I will say they were better about that this week. But okay, go ahead, Josh.
All right. So see where you're coming from, your point of view. For me personally, I am not gonna apologize for being a traditionalist when it comes to wrestling. I'm just saying, and letting everybody else know. I'm not gonna apologize for that. This was, to steal a phrase from Jim Cornette here, this was mud show of all mud shows, in my opinion. Okay. You mean to tell me that a guy who proclaims to be the best wrestler in the world needs to beg and back off from stunted growth? You mean to tell me that's what we're doing here? Would CM Punk back away from El Torito? Like, come on, man. What are we doing here? That match went way, way too long. Secondly, who am I supposed to cheer in the match? Going back to what we mentioned earlier on this show. I like the Young Bucks for a couple moves here and there, but every time there's a 6-man tag team match, or as they like to call it, trios match, I think it's so dumb to do tag, tag, tag. You're not supposed to do that. Like, dude, why bother have a tag team match when the referee's not going to even pay attention to when the actual tags are made? And the logic behind them, too. I think Jurassic Express as babyfaces did the tag, too. It's so stupid. And Rick Knox, I'm adding you to the list because you're not a good referee either. Absolutely not. This match, he has some cool spots. But the fact that Marco Stunt was able to slip off a one-wing angel is dumb. Okay, the V triggers to Luchasaurus were pretty nice. There were some good spots. I'm not saying the match was horrible or anything, but overall, collectively, watching it was outlaw, mud show freaks. Nonsense that I have no care for whatsoever. By the way, who benefited from that match, by the way? And then, how about this? The cleaner, the babyface, Kenny Omega, attacks Marco Stunt after the match is over because he's in his feelings over FTR pouring the beer over him. Think about that.
Yeah, it was stupid.
And that's the thing. Okay, some people like matches for spots. I'm actually looking for a story. I don't know why that match was booked in the first place. That's the first thing.
Well,
they have a cold match just to have a match.
Right. Well, but again, Josh, I will say to that, that's going back to the, what we were talking about with WWE. They're booking these matches because, you have to do something. You have to do things differently in pandemic time. You also have to remember that a lot of AEW's or some of AEW's roster can't be there because of travel restrictions. Like we can't see Pac, we can't see, certain other talent like that. So I think they just needed something to fill some time on the show. And WWE's done that too. Like they showed the Braun Strowman Bray Wyatt match because they needed to fill some time on SmackDown. So I think that's the reason they did that.
I think really the suspension of disbelief is my biggest issue with this match. And this happens a lot with Marco Stunt matches. I can't take him seriously when you're doing false finishes and counter spots, and it just makes your guys look bad. That's just my opinion. If people enjoy Marco Stunt, that's fine. I'm not going to say anything bad about them. That's their prerogative. I'm not going to go full Jim Cornette on everybody here. But it's so ridiculous. And honestly, I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this match later on this weekend. But, oh, God, man.
I know.
The fact that still, this is the spot of Kenny Omega backing away from Marco Stunt just ruined the entire match for me. And still trying to jot down the moves that actually make sense for whatever story they're trying to go for in that match was just not good. But
fair.
I guess the revelation of this week's episode is that we figured out that the Elite are Two-Face as wrestling characters.
Of course, but we knew that already.
Right.
Okay, let's see. Hikaru Shida Open Challenge. That's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, Josh. The Nightmare Sisters.
Hey, I'll say this though. I love seeing a double of Allie per week. But
did you see that? Like from the moment they came out, they started disagreeing with each other. Like, how are you a tag team if this is all you're going to do is just fight the whole time? Like, it's
Well, actually, that's been kind of the whole thing with their pairing since they started being a team. My issue was, why didn't they put the individual win-loss records for both performers? Like, they just put the regular tag team record. Like, when you know the story that these two are not worthy to trust each other, you should not have them labeled from the lower third as everybody else in the show. Like, it's been consistent. I know why they have their beef with each other, so that really didn't bother me. It's just again, you have to lead your audience the right way and actually tell the right story. And I didn't think the show really needed them, but I wouldn't mind seeing Allie on the show.
And the other thing, Josh, and I talked about this earlier, is I think that they're using the teams that don't trust each other storyline way too much in AEW. You've got way too much of that going on.
Hey, it's good to have characters that have your color T-shirt from time to time, but when it's permeating throughout the entire show and it's all shades of gray, then why are we watching your show?
Right. Absolutely. And then I guess my last thing, Josh, happy to see Vicky Guerrero back, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I thought that was great.
That's awesome. Happy for that. I don't know if this is a what the hell is wrong with AEW, but I actually didn't mind it, was Taz throwing in the towel for Brian Cage. I was actually okay with that because it and I thought that their match was fine. It wasn't revolutionary, but it wasn't bad. It was fine.
This was my favorite part of the show last night. I really enjoyed the main event. I thought this match really spotlighted the good attributes of Brian Cage for what he does in the ring, and also him working body parts. I thought sometimes in Impact he kind of relied too much on the lucha spots that you see everybody else do on the show, but I thought it was a really good showcase for Brian Cage, and nice to see Moxley back and he's in good graces. And Moxley cut a good promo earlier in the show as well. And this was my favorite part of the show. I thought Fight for Fun for what was okay, but I thought this match really helped the show overall for my feelings on it. But yeah, Moxley and Cage had a pretty good match. I didn't really have an issue with the top spot. I understand why they did it, but also, when do you get to the point where you start noticing that Taz overshadows Brian Cage to a certain point? It's something that I would ask. I'm not saying it's a bad spot. I understand why they did it, and they touched on it in the commentary, and they do it sometimes when it comes to certain matches, and sometimes they don't. But, JR mentioning that Brian Cage had tricep injury. No, was it bicep surgery, something like that? Like, yeah.
I want to say that sounds right. I can't quite remember.
Yeah. Anyways, Cage had a surgery on his shoulder before he came to AEW, and they did a good job mentioning that. So I understand why they did it. And then you have Darby Allin coming out attacking Brian Cage after the match is over. I thought that was fine too. So I enjoyed the main event for what it was, and I understand why they threw the towel in. I just don't want to get to the point where Taz overshadows Brian Cage, because if Brian Cage is never going to cut a promo. Here's the thing: Paul Heyman can talk for Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is still going to make Brock Lesnar. I hope that's the same thing with Brian Cage.
Right. And I think you and I talked about that last week, Josh, was that I had those same concerns that Taz was going to overshadow Brian Cage, and he was becoming too much of and Brian Cage is not Brock Lesnar. I'm sorry, he's not. So, but right. Josh, as we wrap up this segment this week, I only have one thing to say: Jericho and ratings. What the hell is wrong with AEW? This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Oh Lord.
What a
I'm so surprised that I really had to jot down a 18 to 49 demo line in a wrestling show.
I can't believe Okay. Well, next time we do this, Josh, we'll have to just outline the positives first, and then we'll go right into the bad stuff.
I thought we were fair to certain extents.
Absolutely. Okay, Josh, before we get out of here this week, the whole reason that I am hosting is because it is prediction time.
Yeah.
This weekend is the show of horrors at the Rules That Are Extreme.
Yes.
It should be actually, I'm looking forward to the show. I think it's going to be a good show. I'm really looking forward to it. So let's run down the card, and then we will get into our predictions. And we're going to start with the United States Championship match. You have Apollo Crews defending his title against MVP. And I believe, Josh, that we are going to see a new United States champion this week. And I believe that MVP is going to defeat Apollo Crews and become the new champion. What do you think?
As much as big things are popping, little things will not be stopping because Apollo Crews will retain and still remain your United States champion.
Very good. All right. Cool. I like it. You know what? Let's get into let's do this women's championship matches next, Josh. We're going to start with the SmackDown side. We've got Bayley defending against Nikki Cross. Who do you have in this match?
I got Bayley winning. I'm pretty sure we have some outside shenanigans, but Bayley, this will probably be the one match that ends with a roll-up, but I expected a lot of action for Nikki Cross, and there could be some really good close false finishes in this match, but I'll go with Bayley to retain here.
You know, I'm going back and forth on this, honestly, Josh, because I'm going to say Bayley retains because I could also see Nikki Cross winning, and then we start to see a little bit of dissension among Sasha Banks and Bayley. Because that's coming eventually. Now, go ahead.
I'll add on to this. Sasha and Bayley do not need a title for the feud. Go ahead.
Well, that's true. That's a good point, too. So I'm going to hesitantly say Bayley retains, but don't be surprised if Nikki Cross becomes the new champion here.
I wouldn't.
No, but I'm going to say, okay. Now, next up, we have the match that you think is going to open the show, which is Asuka defending her title against Sasha Banks. Asuka retains here. I was thinking about this morning. I actually wouldn't be surprised, but now that Shayna Baszler is back, you've got to set up Asuka versus Baszler at SummerSlam. Because I had initially thought that, well, if Sasha wins and Bayley loses, then the balance of power shifts in that tag team. And I could have seen that happening too. But because Shayna Baszler is back, I'm going to say, and because Kairi Sane challenged Asuka, I'm going to say Asuka retains against Sasha Banks, which means that Bayley's going to retain as well. What do you think?
I think this match should and will open the show on Sunday. And the reason I say that is because with the theme of the show being the horror show, this show is going to have a totally different vibe than the past Extreme Rules pay-per-views. I just want to get that out of the way. So if I see tweets outside saying, "Oh, this feels weird," it doesn't feel like Extreme Rules. There's a reason why. It's a different concept. So, but I think it'd be good to start off with a really good match. And, Sasha calls herself the standard and all that. If that's the case, have that follow that match.
Right.
So I have Asuka retaining here. And like you said, have Shayna Baszler come out after the match, do the Kira Fuda clutch, and you can start your business there. So this can be the match, though. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into the WWE Championship match next. You've got Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler. Obviously, McIntyre retains here, but I think this could steal the show. I think this could be a really cool match.
Yes, I have Drew McIntyre retaining, and as far as the stipulation is concerned, I'm sticking to my guns with the no Claymore rules. So
I actually like that. I'm going to go with that too, Josh. I actually really, really like that stipulation. Okay. Let's get into the two production matches that have been listed here. And we're going to start with the eye for an eye match between Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio. I'm going to let you go first here, Josh. What do you think is going to happen here?
Two different things can happen here. Either Seth Rollins, this way Seth Rollins gets written off of TV for a while as he prepares to be a father, or there's a heel turn lurking around the corner because something's going to happen here. I'm sure Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy will find their way to be involved in the match as well. Dominic as well. I'm I'll say this though. Do not be surprised if this match ends in a no contest. While Bray had kind of a obvious pin in the Firefly Funhouse match, it wasn't as much conclusive that everybody thought it was. So wherever they do, okay, CGI, of course. Honestly, these guys are not losing eyes. We get that, okay, right? Yeah. We're playing on. This is an entertainment show. Like it's okay. But I do believe Seth Rollins will win. I just have a feeling either Kevin Owens is going to turn on Rey Mysterio or Dominic will join the Monday Night Messiah coalition. So I'm going with Seth Rollins. But I'm very intrigued. I'm really intrigued to see how they go about this match, and I think it'll be fun. Will there be corny elements to it? Probably, but we'll see what happens. I'm really curious to see how this goes.
I'm curious about this match too. This is actually one of the ones I'm most intrigued about because I'll be curious to see how WWE pulls this off. But I'm actually taking Seth Rollins to win this match as well. I think because of the mask element, it's easier to, if you're going to lose an eye, it'll be easier to do it with the character who's got a face mask on. Yes. You can cover that up. Mm-hmm. So I think that's gonna happen too. I don't know how the shenanigans are going to happen and how they're going to do it. If there's going to be heel turn, if it's just going to be a fluke thing, I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm definitely taking Seth Rollins to retain or to win this match as well. And WWE has hit a home run in all of their production matches so far. Yeah. And I'll be very curious to see what they do with this as well. And then getting into what I believe will be the final match of the evening, the Wyatt Swamp fight between Braun Strowman and the Eater of Worlds, Follow, the Buzzards, Bray Wyatt. I'm taking Bray Wyatt to win here, and I think this is going to set up a Universal Championship match between Braun Strowman and The Fiend at SummerSlam, because we haven't seen that yet. We've seen Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt. Yeah. We have not seen Braun Strowman versus The Fiend, which I think is what we're going to be getting at SummerSlam in a production match. That's, they'll come up with some concept like a let me in match or something like that. I don't know, or something like that. But I'm taking Bray Wyatt to win in this match.
This match for me is the no contest match of the show. I think we have a scenario where they're fighting in the water and Bray finds a way to slither out through the streams. That's how I think the finish is going to go. And then, like you said, the Fiend could come back. Let's say the final scene of that movie, right? And then you have the Fiend like that. It's gonna be. This is the match I'm looking forward to the most because I love the whole Bray Wyatt original theme song and all that cool stuff. It's gonna be awesome.
and the show ends with the whole that. Yeah, and it ends like that. Okay, cool.
I had somebody say, "Oh, Asuka and Sasha should be the main event of Extreme Rules." I was like, "Nope, nope, no shot."
That's delete. Yes. Oh man.
Oh, speaking of deletes, we forgot one match. Jeff Hardy and Sheamus.
Oh, bar fight. Yeah, bar fight. I forgot about that. Yeah, they don't have that actually up on WWE.com. I believe. No, they don't have that on the preview for the show. Interesting. Yeah.
Somebody needs to be fired then.
Yeah. Gotta take Jeff Hardy here, right?
I could see Jeff Hardy, but I could also see Sheamus winning as well. If this thing's gonna end at SummerSlam, then it would. But I'll go with Jeff Hardy just for.
Yeah, I'll take Jeff Hardy too. And then because I see that, and then then they each have one win,
right?
And they have the rubber match at SummerSlam. So, I'm really looking forward to the show, Josh. It's going to be a great weekend of professional wrestling. We've got tonight is New Japan tonight.
No, the next New Japan show will be next Monday. Not this Monday, but the week after that. It's called Sengoku Lord. I'll have the card for you guys next week for that. But that's the next one for New Japan. Don't forget Saturday, Slammiversary.
That's what I was going to say is we have SmackDown Friday, Slammiversary Saturday, and then the Extreme Rules Horror Show this Sunday.
Yes.
Josh, it's been a great morning. Always great to get to spend time with you, brother, and be the host of the show. Thank you for the opportunity to host. Where can people find you on social media sites?
You can follow me on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast, also on Instagram at JoshieLopez94, at Josh Lopez Music. Make sure to bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com as well. You guys can go check out the website there for all my cards for all these wrestling shows. But that's pretty much it. Plugging wise, I don't really have much to plug. Folks, find a way to detox with social media as well sometimes. That'd be my tip for everybody.
I love it. And you can follow me on Twitter at Derek Stout. You can also follow me on Instagram at Derrico06. Want to thank everybody for checking out episode 214 of the Hoots podcast. We will be back next week to recap Extreme Rules, recap Raw, and get into whatever crap AEW is going to throw together next week. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to be the authentic product that is yourself. Take care of yourself. Please wear your masks. The COVID thing is real, so wear your masks, take care of yourself, and we will see you next week for episode 215. Yes, sir.
Don't forget, folks, subscribe and review. We'll talk to you guys next week. Yes, sir.